What's going on, everybody? It's Adonis with Absolutely Tech, and today we're talking about the newly announced MacBook. So today Apple announced a brand new MacBook at their Spring Forward event. So we're gonna dive into some of the specs and have a little discussion on, is this the future of where computers are going? Let's get into it. So this computer, I'll go down the specs. I have it typed down quite a bit. So we got 2 pounds as far as the weight. Now, the design of the computer resembles the MacBook Air in design language. So I wanna know if maybe that's gonna filter into like the MacBook Pro line and stuff in the future. I'm not really sure. 13.1 millimeters thick, or thin at its thickest point. And that's actually 24% thinner than the 11-inch MacBook Air, so that's pretty crazy. The keys themselves have a new butterfly mechanism. That way it's an even press when you press it instead of it having it tilt on the key itself. So they said it's a better tactile feel. And it's backlit by individual LEDs per key, so I guess it's more power efficient that way. Now, it does have a Retina display, which is pretty awesome. I know a lot of people that have been asking for a Retina display in a form factor like the MacBook Air, so it's pretty cool that they did that. It's 30% less energy with larger pixels as well. So the pixels themselves, their aperture is a little bit bigger to allow more light to show through the display, so they can use less energy to do that. Pretty neat. They have a new trackpad called the Force Touch Trackpad. Really cool. It actually has a taptic engine from the Apple Watch in there as well, so when you press, you actually get feedback from that. And they have some really cool force click gestures. So if you click hard press on a word, it'll give you a definition in Wikipedia for it. It also says if you are like in an email and there's an address, you can force click on there and it shows you on the map where it is. Same thing with calendar entries. You can preview files as well with it, so that's pretty neat. Now this is a fanless MacBook, which is pretty exciting. If anybody has ever used any type of computer before and you start using it pretty heavily and you hear this fan kick on, it's kind of annoying, the little hum. So it's pretty neat that this computer doesn't have it. Now, it isn't the first computer that is a fanless design, but it is a first Mac with a fanless design. The logic board itself is 67% smaller than the previous logic board that's in the MacBook Air. So that's ridiculous how small this is. Now, as far as performance, they are clocking the new Intel Core M processors. They're on a 14 nanometer process, so they're using a little bit lower energy. Now, the clock speeds aren't as fast as the MacBook Airs, so we're not really sure if that means they're slower or faster. We're gonna have to try them out to see what that looks like, but they start at 1.1 gigahertz and go up from there. They do have 8 gigabytes of RAM out of the box, so that's neat. 256 gigabytes of PCIe flash-based storage. That's out of the box, so it's better than the 128 that ships with the Airs, so I like that. And they do ship with the 5300 Intel HD graphics, which is cool. So this does support the new USB Type-C connector, which is really cool, and I was really excited when they announced it. This is not a proprietary connector for Apple. It is a standard through the industry, which is really exciting. Now, this one port will power your device, can be used as USB, DisplayPort, HDMI, and VGA out, which is really exciting. So it's a multi-function port. It does have 5 gigabits per second, so it's roughly around USB 3.1 speed. So it's definitely not slow. What it doesn't say, and I don't see it at all, is Thunderbolt capability, since it isn't as fast as Thunderbolt, so it won't have Thunderbolt ports on the computer itself. But for what it's based off of, I mean, as far as what it's designed for, the MacBook seems to be kind of like that entry-level computer that it used to be. So it's not like the prosumer type of computer that the MacBook Pros are, and it's kind of a mix between the Air, so pretty nice. Now, the battery technology in this computer is really cool. Now, it doesn't have the long-lasting battery that the 13-inch MacBook Air has. It does last really long, though. However, it's the design of the battery. Because this computer is significantly thinner, they use most of the internal space for battery, but because it tapers, a traditional battery is square, it's more rectangle, so it's not gonna fit all the way through. So they developed a new battery technology where it's kind of set up like I want to say elevation, like you would see on a map or something like that, where they layer the battery so it actually fits in a curve. It's really clever stuff. So that's cool that they took the time to try to figure how to get the most battery out of it. And that's pretty ridiculous that they kind of have it kind of like terraformed inside of the computer, so that's pretty neat. So as far as my view on this computer, I think it's actually really cool. Now, personally, I use a 15-inch MacBook Pro with Retina display. I do a lot of video editing, music production, so I need the performance out of that computer. But if you're somebody that has an old MacBook or an iPad, an iPad Air or a MacBook Air for that matter, and you're like, you know what? I want something that's still super portable, that gets good battery life, that has a Retina display. This is a win. I mean, the only thing that I can think of that could potentially be on some shaky ground is the lack of ports. There's only the one port, so that uses power and data transfer as well, so we'll see what that turns out. But nowadays, if you're doing things that are in Dropbox, iCloud, Google Drive, Microsoft SkyDrive, or whatever you want to call their drive now, there's so many ways to send documents through the cloud. So as far as holding a USB key and stuff like that, I don't think it's necessary. So if you're somebody that's really trying to go on that wireless trend, I think this is a good computer to start with. And I think that with Apple doing this, they're kind of setting that model of, okay, this is where computers are going. Let's baby step it with the MacBook and see, if people take to this type of computer. I mean, the Air was the first computer that they shipped with no optical drive. And people were like, what? There's no CD drive? This is ridiculous. But now all of their computers don't have CD drives. So it makes sense. You just gotta baby step people into it. So this is the computer, I guess, that's going to do that. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is a win for Apple? Do you think it's a little bit on the questionable side just because it's so any drastic change as far as the ports go, being very wireless as far as its functionality of the computer, using like cloud services for things like that? Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and until next time, guys, see you later.